Dear friends, this week we'll be reading the portion of Vayechi, which is the final portion in the book of Bereshis, the first of the 5 books. It's a week when we say Chazak, Chazak v'nischazek. When we end the Torah reading, we pronounce, be strong, and be strengthened. As we finish one book, we should be able to continue on and move forward in the study of Torah and the implementation of its ideas. And this is really connected to this week's portion as well. The Torah tells us, Vayechi Yaakov. Yaakov lived in Egypt for 17 years. Even though we're talking about the death of Jacob, the death of the third of the forefathers, we talk about his last words to his children, his grandchildren, his blessings, how he passed away, how he was buried. But yet, the Torah portion emphasizes Vayechi, how Yaakov lived. And where did Yaakov live? He lived in Egypt. For 17 years. And we contrast these 17 years to the previous 130 years of his life. Those years were fraught with difficulty, with challenges, with constant issues that Yaakov had to face. But where did Yaakov live? Where did he succeed in the greatest way? Where was his greatest satisfaction? Where did Yaakov finally have nachas from his life? Was the 17 years in Egypt. And how could it be that in Egypt is the greatest years of his life? And the answer is found in the way Jacob talked to his children and in his blessings. Yaakov looked around at his children and then at his grandchildren, specifically the ones who were brought up in Egypt, Joseph's children. And he saw something that told him, I did it right. He saw that even though there were different generations, they were all interested and committed to the same thing. They believed in the same God that he believed in. They followed the same rituals and the same way of life that he followed. Their minds, their ideas, their purpose of living, the things that excited them, the things that they were involved in, were all the same. There was no generation gap. Yaakov continued to live on in his children and his grandchildren, and because of that, he knew they will continue to live on through their children and for the rest of time. And that's Vayechi Yaakov. That's when Yaakov lived. Because as long as Yaakov's life was complete, but he's not sure about his children's life being complete as a Jew, and definitely wasn't yet sure about his grandchildren, Yaakov didn't feel complete as a person. But once he knew it was 3 generations strong, we are told something that's 3 generations strong continues on. In the world of business, they say a business that lasts 3 generations has a better chance of continuing on than one that only lasts 1 or 2. And this is the message of Chazak. The power of the Jewish people, the secret of the Jewish people is that we carry a truth that's unchanging. God, the commandments, the Torah, that's unchanging. We apply it to all new things that we experience and that we invent and that happens in the world. But the fundamentals, the structure of Judaism, the heart and soul of Judaism has not changed one iota. It's the truth, and it's encompassing, and it's real. And it's something that gives life, not only to Yaakov, but it gives life to everyone who follows it. And this is so important at a time where we are, when we're deep in exile. We live in a very free world where there's so many callings to people, and many callings are even good. Join this movement or that movement, and this spirituality and that spirituality. And people question, why Judaism? First of all, Judaism is yours. It's your heritage. It's who you are. But second of all, Judaism works. Judaism is real. It's the only thing that has lasted for so many years. And it has lasted through the movement of Jews through over 100 countries and over so many different types of living. And yet the same truth come up again and again and are passed on. And the way a Jew lives today is the way a Jew lived 1,000 years ago and 2,000 years ago in terms of the rituals and the observances of Shabbat, prayer, family life. And this is Vayechi Yaakov. This is the message for us for Chazak. And may God help you should be successful with your children and grandchildren to carry this on, to be Vayechi, true living in your home. A living where you know you're complete because what you stand for, when you believe in, is carried on fully and even with more strength by all the rest. So may God bless all of you to have a lot of success in this. We all have a Vayechi, true living. And I want to wish you Shabbat Shalom. Love you all. Shabbat candlelighting time in Montreal this week is 3:55 p.m.